Most men believe they miss chances with women because they are not attractive enough, not confident enough, or because they said the wrong thing at the wrong moment. This belief feels comforting because it suggests the problem is external and fixable with better lines, better timing, or better looks. But in years of observing real interactions and counseling men privately, a far more uncomfortable truth emerges. The majority of missed opportunities have nothing to do with what a man says. They happen because he never realizes an opportunity was there in the first place. Women rarely announce desire verbally. They do not say, "I'm attracted to you," or "I want you to make a move now." Desire, especially raw sexual interest, is communicated through the body long before words ever get involved. The problem is that most men are trained to listen only for spoken signals. They are taught to wait for certainty, permission, or clarity that never arrives in the form they expect. While they are listening, women are speaking in an entirely different language. This is where countless moments quietly die. A woman leans in a little closer than necessary. Her eyes linger. Her breathing subtly changes. She positions herself toward him, not because she's being polite, but because her body is responding before her mind catches up. To an experienced observer, these are loud signals. To most men, they register as nothing, or worse, they get misclassified as friendliness, social warmth, or harmless flirting that doesn't mean anything. The tragic pattern repeats itself over and over, weeks later, sometimes years later. A man suddenly realizes the truth. He replays the moment in his mind and sees it clearly for the first time. She wasn't just being nice. She wasn't just comfortable. She was open, curious, and sexually interested. By then, it is always too late. The window has closed. She has chosen someone else, often not because that man was better, but because he noticed what was happening and had the courage to respond. This gap between signal and awareness is where attraction lives or dies. Sexual energy does not wait patiently. It either gets met and amplified, or it fades and redirects itself towards someone who understands it. This is why so many men feel invisible, unlucky, or consistently almost chosen without knowing why. The purpose of this series is not to teach tricks or manipulative tactics. It is to teach perception, to help you recognize the involuntary, unconscious signals that reveal genuine desire, not the fake politeness that leads nowhere. But to do that, you first need to understand why these signals are so easy to miss, even when they are happening right in front of you. One of the most frustrating things about sexual attraction is that it rarely announces itself in a clear, dramatic way. Lust does not behave like logic. It does not raise its hand and wait to be acknowledged. Instead, it leaks out through the nervous system in small, involuntary behaviors that are easy to dismiss if you do not know what you are looking at. This is why so many men walk away convinced nothing was there. While a woman walks away feeling unseen, attraction lives in the body first, not the mind. Long before a woman consciously decides whether she likes a man, her body begins responding. Her breathing subtly shifts. Her posture adjusts. Her eyes linger where they shouldn't. These reactions are not planned, and in many cases, she is not fully aware of them herself. That is what makes them honest. A woman can fake words, she can fake smiles, she can fake politeness, but she cannot fully control her nervous system when real desire is present. Men struggle to see these signs for several reasons. The first is conditioning. Many men are taught to assume disinterest unless desire is explicitly stated. This trains them to ignore ambiguity. Even though attraction is almost always ambiguous at the start. The second reason is fear. Recognizing a sign means responsibility. If you see it, you are expected to respond. Ignoring it allows you to stay safe, passive, and unchallenged. There is also the social mislabeling problem. A woman's sexual curiosity often looks very similar to friendliness on the surface. She laughs, she listens, she engages. Men tell themselves she is just being nice, just sociable, just comfortable. This explanation feels safer than admitting there is tension in the air that requires leadership. Unfortunately, comfort without action quickly becomes invisibility. Another reason these signals are missed is that they rarely appear in isolation. Attraction shows up as clusters: a glance here, a touch there, a shift in tone, a change in proximity. Each individual signal can be explained away. Together, they form a pattern that is impossible to ignore once you know how to read it. Most men never learn to connect these dots. They analyze each behavior separately instead of observing the overall change in her energy. Finally, many men are mentally elsewhere. They are stuck in their heads, rehearsing what to say next, worrying about outcomes, or monitoring themselves for mistakes. Presence is required to notice subtlety. When your attention is turned inward, you miss what her body is communicating outwardly. Before you can act confidently, you must first learn to observe accurately. And one of the most revealing places to start observing is where desire most naturally escapes control: the eyes. The eyes are often the first place genuine attraction reveals itself, because they are directly connected to the nervous system. Unlike words, eye behavior is difficult to consciously control for extended periods of time. When a woman feels arousal or strong interest, her body responds before her social filter has time to intervene, and the eyes quietly give her away. One of the clearest signals is pupil dilation. Many men assume this only happens in low light, but emotional and sexual arousal also trigger it through the autonomic nervous system. Even in a bright environment, her pupils may subtly expand when she looks at you. This is not something she decides to do. It happens automatically, the same way your heart rate increases under stress or excitement. Most men never notice it, but once you train your awareness, it becomes unmistakable. Eye contact duration is another powerful indicator. Friendly eye contact tends to follow a predictable rhythm. Look, acknowledge, look away. When desire enters the picture, that rhythm breaks. She holds your gaze just a fraction longer than necessary, then looks away, then comes back again. This repeated returning is important. Anyone can accidentally hold eye contact once. Repeated lingering is intentional at the level of the body. Even if the mind pretends it is casual, there is also the quality of her gaze to pay attention to. When attraction is present, her eyes soften. They are not scanning the room. They are not distracted. They feel focused and present, as if she is momentarily locked into you. This type of gaze often comes with a slight narrowing of the eyes, not in suspicion, but in concentration. It signals absorption, not evaluation. One of the most overlooked eye-related behaviors is where she looks while you are speaking. When a woman is merely being polite, she looks at your eyes, occasionally glancing away. When sexual interest is present, her gaze often drops to your mouth. This is not random. It is an unconscious preview of intimacy. The brain associates lips with kissing, closeness, and physical connection. She may not even realize she's doing it, but her body is rehearsing what her mind has not yet allowed. Many men feel these moments, but dismiss them. They tell themselves they imagined it. They assume it would be obvious if a woman was truly interested. But attraction is rarely obvious to the untrained observer. It is quiet, layered, and fleeting. When you start recognizing eye signals, something shifts internally. You stop guessing and start observing. You feel the tension before it is spoken. And once you understand the eyes, you naturally begin to notice what the rest of her body is doing to support the same message. Because desire never speaks through the eyes alone. It aligns the entire body to point in one direction. Once the eyes reveal interest, the body almost always follows. Posture and orientation are some of the most honest signals of attraction because they involve large muscle groups and spatial commitment. A woman can choose her words carefully, but she cannot easily lie with the direction her body faces when desire is active. One of the first changes happens in her posture. When a woman feels attracted, her spine subtly straightens, her chest lifts, and her shoulders pull back. This is not about confidence in a social sense. It is biological presentation. Her body is instinctively maximizing visibility of feminine features associated with youth and fertility. She may not think, "I should stand taller for him." But her nervous system adjusts her posture automatically as soon as attraction is triggered. This shift often happens suddenly. You might notice her sitting position change mid-conversation or her standing posture become more alert when you enter her space. Men often misinterpret this as coincidence or good posture habits. In reality, the timing matters more than the behavior itself. When posture improves specifically in your presence, it is rarely accidental. Body orientation is even more revealing. People naturally angle their bodies toward what they are interested in and away from what they are not. When a woman is attracted, her feet, hips, torso, and shoulders tend to point toward you, even if her head is turned elsewhere. This alignment is crucial. Politeness may keep her face engaged, but attraction pulls the entire body into alignment. What makes this signal powerful is its persistence. In group settings, a woman may be talking to someone else while her feet still point toward you. She may laugh at another person's joke while her torso remains angled in your direction. This split between social obligation and physical orientation is difficult to fake and incredibly telling. The body does not lie easily when it is choosing. Another subtle indicator is proximity tolerance. When attraction is present, her comfort bubble shrinks. She stands closer than necessary. She does not step back when you lean in slightly. Instead, she holds her ground or mirrors the distance. This is not friendliness alone. It is the body granting access. Men who miss these signals often do so because they are focused on her face and words, not her feet, hips, and shoulders. But attraction is spatial. It is directional. The body quietly votes before the mind speaks, once orientation is established. The next layer of attraction begins to test connection and safety through contact. This is where touch enters the picture, often disguised as accident or playfulness, but carrying a very specific purpose. Touch is where attraction stops being theoretical and starts testing reality. This is why touch signals are almost never random, even when they appear accidental on the surface. When a woman is sexually interested, her body looks for ways to create brief moments of physical connection that allow her to measure your awareness, confidence, and emotional steadiness. These moments are not demands. They are invitations disguised as accidents. The most common form is the so-called accidental touch. She brushes past you when there is plenty of space. Her hand lingers on your arm a fraction longer than necessary while laughing. She lightly touches your chest or shoulder to emphasize a point. Each of these touches carries a question underneath it. Do you notice? Do you stay calm? Do you respond like a man who is comfortable with closeness? Or do you tense up and retreat? Many men fail this test without realizing one ever occurred. They freeze, overthink, or pretend nothing happened. From her perspective, this reads as emotional absence or insecurity, not because she expects immediate escalation, but because attraction requires responsiveness. Ignoring touch breaks the feedback loop that desire depends on. As her comfort grows, the signals often shift inward. When a woman feels both attracted and safe, she begins touching herself more in your presence. This is not a performance. It is a nervous system behavior linked to arousal and self-soothing. She twirls her hair around her finger, exposing her neck. She strokes her collarbone while listening. She adjusts her skirt or rests her hand on her thigh. These movements draw attention to erogenous zones without conscious planning. Her body is inviting your attention before her mind officially grants permission. This is where many men misinterpret the situation completely. They tell themselves she is fidgety, bored, or simply expressive. But context matters. These behaviors increase specifically when you speak, when you lean in, when the interaction feels charged. Attraction amplifies body awareness, and the body responds by highlighting itself. Touch also becomes a way for her to regulate tension. Desire creates arousal, and arousal creates energy. Self-touch helps distribute that energy. If you notice these behaviors happening together with eye contact, proximity, and orientation, you are no longer dealing with coincidence. You are witnessing a pattern. The key is understanding that touch is not about permission. It is about calibration. She is gauging whether you can meet her where she already is, emotionally, without rushing ahead or falling behind. Once touch enters the interaction, another subtle shift often occurs. The way she speaks changes. The way she breathes changes. And the entire conversation begins to feel heavier, slower, and more intimate without a single explicit word being spoken. When attraction deepens, it begins to affect systems that are even harder to consciously control: voice and breathing. This is where many interactions quietly cross from friendly into charged, even if nothing overt has happened yet. Men often sense this shift emotionally, describing it as something in the air, but fail to understand what is actually changing on a physiological level. A woman's voice naturally adjusts when she feels sexual interest. It often becomes slightly lower, slower, and smoother. This is not intentional seduction. It is the nervous system moving her into a more intimate state. Higher, faster speech is associated with alertness, social performance, and safety. Slower, softer speech signals relaxation and openness. When she lowers her volume and pace with you, she is subconsciously creating a private bubble inside a public space. You may notice that she begins speaking more quietly, forcing you to lean in to hear her. This is a powerful signal because it reduces distance without explicitly asking for it. Friendly conversation does not require closeness. Desire does. By lowering her voice, she invites proximity while maintaining plausible deniability. If you respond by leaning in calmly rather than stepping back or overreacting, the sense of intimacy deepens naturally. Breathing patterns change as well. Attraction activates the sympathetic nervous system, increasing arousal. Her breathing may become heavier, slower, or more noticeable when you speak or hold eye contact. Sometimes it shows up as a soft sigh after you finish a sentence. Sometimes it is a deeper inhale before she responds. These are not dramatic signals, but they are consistent. The body is preparing itself for connection. As these changes occur, the conversation itself starts to feel different. It becomes less performative and more focused. She may stop scanning the room. Her responses become more present, less rushed. Even silence begins to feel comfortable rather than awkward. This is important. Comfort with silence is not a sign of boredom here. It is a sign that the nervous system is synchronized enough that words are no longer doing all the work. Many men ruin this moment by trying to fill the space. They talk faster, joke more, or over-explain. This breaks the rhythm she has unconsciously set. Attraction thrives in measured pace, not nervous momentum. When you slow down instead of speeding up, you show that you are emotionally grounded and capable of holding tension without diffusing it. This is the point where interactions begin to feel exclusive, even if others are nearby. The world narrows. The exchange feels heavier, warmer, more focused. And when that happens, another powerful signal often appears without either person planning it. Her body begins to mirror yours. Syncing movement, posture, and rhythm in a way that signals real chemistry rather than imagined interest. One of the strongest confirmations of real attraction appears when her body begins to mirror yours. This mirroring is not playful imitation. It is neurological alignment. When two nervous systems feel safe and stimulated together, they naturally synchronize. You lean back, and moments later, she does the same. You slow your movements, and her pace adjusts to match. You cross your arms or shift your posture, and she follows without realizing it. This is not conscious flirting. It is the body saying, "I am tuned to you." Real chemistry always creates rhythm before it creates action. Alongside mirroring, attraction often activates territorial instincts. When another attractive woman enters the space, her behavior subtly changes. She moves closer to you, closes physical distance, or positions her body between you and the perceived competition. She may touch you more, laugh louder, or increase eye contact. This is not manipulation. It is primal. Her body is responding to the possibility of losing access to something it wants. Polite interest does not trigger possession. Desire does. Another revealing cluster of signals appears in moments of self-adjustment. When a woman is attracted, she becomes more aware of how she is being seen. She fixes her hair, exposes her neck, adjusts her clothing to reveal more skin, repositions jewelry, or reapplies lip gloss. These behaviors spike when your attention feels present and grounded. Mouth-related actions often intensify as well. She bites her lip, chews a straw, shares a drink, or offers you a taste of food. The mouth is neurologically linked to intimacy, and these gestures quietly invite closeness without words. At this stage, the most important question becomes what you do next. Many men sabotage themselves here. They overvalidate, becoming overly nice and verbally enthusiastic. They freeze, waiting for absolute certainty. They pretend not to notice the signals to avoid responsibility, or they act nervous and needy, collapsing the tension that created attraction in the first place. The correct response is calm leadership. You slow down instead of speeding up. You lower your voice slightly, lean in naturally, and hold eye contact without staring. You respond to touch with relaxed confidence, not hesitation or escalation. You tease lightly, make her laugh, and mirror her energy without mimicking her. You allow the tension to grow gradually rather than trying to resolve it immediately. Most importantly, you stay present in your body, not trapped in your head. When you respond this way, you communicate something powerful without saying it. You show that you see her signals, understand them, and are comfortable holding masculine presence without pressure. This allows her to relax deeper into her feminine energy and choose you willingly. Most men never learn this language, so they keep missing moments that could have changed everything. Once you learn to see these signals, your interactions enter a completely different world. Attraction stops feeling confusing and starts feeling readable. But awareness alone is not enough. Timing and confident action determine whether sexual energy becomes reality or quietly disappears forever.